Welcome into Giants post-game wrap-up presented by Mercedes-Benz, the official luxury automobile of the New York Football Giants. I'm Madelyn, Burke, joined by Giants Super Bowl champion Victor Cruz. And Victor, still can't believe they picked up that flag, but we're going to get to that. Yes, Giants fell to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 25-23 on Monday Night Football. What a finish, though.
Yeah, crazy finish. Really a tale of two halves as far as Tom Brady's concerned. But turnovers, taking care of the football is the name of the game. And that's really was a deciding factor here.
Yeah. We can't see this Giants team continue to shoot themselves in the foot. That's little mistakes that they keep pointing out game in and week out. But, you know, we got to start late in the game, that fourth quarter, under 4 minutes to play. Giants defense had a great stop on 3rd and 1, ended up leading to a field goal. Tom Brady seemed visibly disappointed that they weren't going for it.
Yeah, he wanted to go for that 4th and short. He knew that. Obviously, as a competitor, as the quarterback of that team, you want the onus to be on you to move forward. But the defense of the Giants got that stop, and now that put Daniel Jones in a position to come back and tie the ballgame.
Absolutely, and Tom Brady knew that there was too much time left on the clock to risk it. And you got to take a look at this because the Giants put together a drive right here. Daniel Jones, first of all, look at this completion.
Tremendous run after catch by Darius Slayton here just to make something happen on 4th and 16.
Daniel Jones, again, he's scrambling out here. He's looking for it. He's running for it and gets that first down. Using his legs, we didn't see a lot of that tonight.
We didn't, but he was on display when he had to. Another 4th down play there to Sterling Shepard, and then the touchdown right here to Golden Tate. Just a perfect ball placed in the back of the end zone. That's what you want out of your quarterback, to drive the ball down the field in the 4th quarter to put your team in a position to win the ballgame.
Well, we were talking about that, too. That was a perfectly placed ball. It's not easy to do. But, of course, the Giants were in a position that they had to go for 2. And you got to look at how this went down because this had us a little worried here.
Yeah, it looked like a bang-bang play at first, but then on the replay, you see Antoine Winfield Jr. really hit him just a hair before the ball got there. They throw the flag late. They pick it up after a lengthy discussion between the referees. As a receiver, you want this ball a little bit more outside, but you got to think that they call this play. The flag is down. Unfortunately, they pick it up and turns the ball over. And gives it back.
And as you mentioned, too, Antoine Winfield very clearly in the way. He does not turn his head around. The official threw the flag. So why pick it up after that? Why not just let the players decide the game?
I'm still asking myself that. I'm a big advocate for, if something happens at the end of the game, a bang-bang play, give the ball give the call in the favor of the of the team that you called the initial penalty on, and let the players win the game. Let them decide it between the lines. I didn't like the fact they picked up the flag. You can see on the slow-mo replay that he got there just before the ball got there, and I think that's what the referee saw, hence why he threw the flag. Trust your eyes, trust what you see, but they picked up the flag, and unfortunately the Giants lose again.
And we know Dion Lewis has the ability to grab that pass. We saw what he did with that first touchdown early on in the game. Now, speaking of early on in the game, it seemed like it was 2 different Tom Bradys that we saw. In the first half, a visibly frustrated Tom Brady. Second half, he turned it around, 2 touchdowns right there. What was the change that you saw in him?
I think it was just momentum. I think whatever was said at halftime, he had a conversation with them, and they came out in the second half and played a different brand of football. I think you see a lot of overthrows here, but also let's give our defense some credit. The Giants defense was playing great football. Leonard Williams was really getting back there and causing havoc, making Tom Brady frustrated as you see him banging his helmet on the old bench there.
Leonard Williams had a sack for a 9-yard loss on this man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was huge. It was huge. And I think just crowding him and making his space as uncomfortable as possible really paid dividends for that defense. And defensively, the secondary, I mean, those guys were flying around, being hip to hip to those receivers. But in the second half, those receivers got more and more open, and they found holes to make plays.
Especially this guy right here, Rob Gronkowski. Tom Brady and Gronk are now second in the most touchdown passes right there with 93 overall.
Yeah, I feel like I've been seeing those guys score touchdowns for 100 years now, and I think this Evans to Brady combination is going to be something that we see down in the future here as the season progresses with the Tampa Bay Bucs.
And credit to James Bradbury, too. He did a very good job on Mike Evans tonight. That was not an easy catch for Mike Evans to make there in that end zone.
I was about to say, all night, I think Evans had some tough catches to make all night because of Bradbury. And obviously, The referees were calling this a little bit closer than we would have liked, obviously. We want them to be a little bit more physical, at least that's what I was hoping for. But I think Bradbury did a tremendous job on Evans all night, obviously giving up one touchdown, but overall had a great night.
Absolutely. All right, we've got a lot more to discuss as this show continues. We'll hear from Giants head coach Joe Judge after the break. That and much more coming up on Giants postgame wrap-up presented by Mercedes-Benz. And hey, for the latest game highlights and analysis, download the Giants mobile app on your device's app store. This week's toughest player of the game is driven by the Hess Toy Truck, on sale now at HessToyTruck.com. Toughest player of the game, Wayne Gallman, 12 attempts, 44 yards, and a touchdown on the ground, not to mention his 18-yard reception as well. Wayne Train running through things right there. I think Hess needs to make a Wayne Train edition, too, for this year's holiday season.
No, I agree. I think he has some really tough runs, and the more he gets going, the more that the Giants can have a balanced attack on the ground as well as in the passing game. It's only going to pay off for this football team. As you can see, he had a tough run here to get in the end zone, and just some tough runs overall. I think when they were handing him the ball, he understood his role and understood that he just has to get downhill, straight, hard, and fast, and get downhill and be effective running the football.
Absolutely. Downhill, absolutely the operative word here. I mean, Gallman, you see, too, I feel like he's gotten a lot better at continuing to run after contact. That's something that he's grown into as the years progressed.
Yeah, and I think that comes with more reps, right? More live game reps. You get to feel the energy. You get to feel those defenders, that energy of running through the tackles, shaking off those one-arm defenders, and breaking those tackles and making those yards after contact beneficial for yourself and your team.
Well, and the Giants really had a running back by committee. Devontae Freeman out with an ankle, elevated Alfred Morris up from the practice squad. They had a bunch of different guys doing things on the ground, but Wayne Gallman, really the toughest player. And David Deal's pick for above the numbers on this week's Giants First and 10, which if you didn't see it on MSG Networks, you got to check it out every week. But your pick was not too bad either.
Exactly. I had Leonard Williams. Obviously, he's shown flashes of being dominant, and today was just the same thing. I think he's shown those same flashes, really just mauling people and getting to the quarterback, having a 9-yard sack right here on Tom Brady.
Casually mauling people.
Just casually mauling people as he pushes guys out of the way. But he's playing great football right now, and I think that the defense is really feeding off of the D-line, and the D-line is feeding off of the secondary. It's very complimentary as a defense right now. This is what you love to see.
Leonard Williams, 4 sacks so far on the year. The defense, has 20 sacks on the season? That's not too bad. They're getting to the quarterback. They're applying that pressure. You love to see that, especially after a team like this Tampa Bay Bucs team that's got a really established line right there.
Yeah, they definitely have an established line. They protect Tom Brady very well. They understand what their roles are on that offensive line. So the fact that our defensive line was able to get back there, run some stunts on them, make it uncomfortable for Tom Brady, especially a little bit in the first half, I think it just paid off for them. And I think there's something to definitely build on as the game progresses and as the season progresses.
Yeah, the Giants defense really held their own. The first half holding him Ryan Suckup was the only one who scored points for quite a while for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and you love to see that performance by this Giants defense. All right, we got a lot more coming up on the show. Stay with us. Giants head coach Joe Judge and more. We'll be talking as we continue to break it all down. Victor Cruz, Madelyn, Burke on Giants postgame wrap-up presented by Mercedes-Benz. We'll be right back after this short break. Tonight's scoring drive of the game is brought to you by Investors Bank. Get the official New York Giants checking account only from Investors Bank. Visit investorsbank.com/Giants for more details. For the drive of the game, we take you to the fourth quarter. Daniel Jones, 3rd and 11, dishes it to Evan Ingram, who hits out to the sideline. Oh no, that's Darius Slayton. That's on that 2nd and 15. And then Daniel Jones runs at 2nd and 15. DJ scrambles, gets the first down right here. And then look at this, another 4th and 16. Completes to Sterling Shepard. And then a beautifully placed ball in the end zone, right to Golden Tate. 13 plays, 70 yards, took 3 minutes and 13 seconds off the clock. End up with that Golden Tate 19-yard touchdown reception. Investors Bank drive of the game. Victor, that would not be enough for the W, but that was enough to get us a little bit excited. And there was a lot of moments along the way that should have gone this way, should have gone that way, but they were in it.
Yeah, they were definitely in it, and that drive is indicative of what you expect out of Daniel Jones, what you kind of came into this season thinking that he can do and believing that he can do, is having that drive when you need points, when you need 6, when you got to put points up on the board, how he can drive your football team. And it's not easy, right? He had to complete 2 fourth-down completions to continue the drive, to extend the drive, keep it alive.
Fourth down
Too
completions.
long 4th down, 4th and 16 one time to be exact. So that leaves me optimistic that he can do this. He can put the team on his back, drive them down the field, get a touchdown, and have the opportunity to either tie or go ahead in the game.
Absolutely. And he's still working out the kinks. You know, we've still seen the turnover bug kind of haunting him a little bit. We saw him and Jason Garrett working together, going over the film on the Microsoft Surfaces on the sidelines, trying to figure out what it was that he's seeing. But you and I were talking about this earlier, too. It's that decision-making process. How do you kind of hone in on those moments as a young quarterback?
It's tough because as a young quarterback, you kind of think to yourself, especially as an athletic quarterback, right? It reminds me of myself back in my Little League days when I was back home playing on a one-way street with all the homies. You understand that you're athletic enough to make every play, that you have the wheels, that you have the arm strength, but sometimes you have to live to fight another day. And I think those are just some of the things that Daniel Jones struggles with. Yes, he may be wrapped around his waist with one arm, but he still feels like he can make that pass and make that play. And I know as a competitor, I know what he's thinking, but I know Jason Garrett and Coach Joe Judge are looking on the sideline like, bruh, let's throw it away. Let's live to fight another day. Let's keep our team in an advantageous position and not hurt us with some of the turnovers that went on throughout the game by Daniel Jones. But these are things that he can learn from. That drive at the end of the game is incredible for them to look at and pick out some of the positives that he did in this game and use that as fuel for weeks to come.
Now, that second turnover, that second interception that he threw, I believe it was 1st and 10. So if you just go down, if you just take that sack, how much of a difference is 10 yards and 20 yards? Well, we'll discuss this because head coach Joe Judge is actually addressing the media right now.
All right, guys, appreciate your patience after the game. Look, long story short, I'm proud of the way our players played tonight. I've seen a lot of improved football, seen a lot of fight from our guys throughout the season. I continuously see an improved team on the field at all positions and guys playing for each other for 60 minutes. You know, that being said, we were able to make some big plays tonight down the stretch. Ultimately, we have to overcome some mistakes, and we have to improve collectively as a coaching staff and as a team to keep giving ourselves the best chance to be successful on team. So we're not asking for moral victories. We understand people in New York deserve better, so we got to keep working to be better for them. That being said, I'll open up to any questions you may have.
Dan Duggan, The Athletic.
Hey, Joe, can you just tell us what you saw in the conversion and what explanation you got for the flag getting picked up?
Yeah, I thought Nate made the right call when he threw the flag. So I'm not sure why it got picked up. We had a pretty good view. I know they can't use the jumbotrons for replay. We had a pretty clear view of that as well. But I thought Nate made the right call the first time. I thought, normally your first instinct is the right one. So that's all I'm going to say about the officiating, guys. I know it's going to be a lot of follow-up questions to it. I'm just going to be very clear and concise with that right there. I thought our guys played hard. We got to put ourselves in position that we can have success and not bring a third party into the factor. It's tough enough to beat the Bucs. So that's all I'm going to say about that.
Thanks.
Bruce Beck, NBC.
Joe, does it all come down to turnovers in your mind?
Not completely, but turnovers are obviously a major factor in any game right there. But there's a lot of things we have to improve on right there. And, look, we have to do a better job, every coach and every player, to keep on moving. But I'm telling you right now, I'm proud of the way our guys are working and playing. I knew the way they came to work and prepared this week. There's been a lot of questions externally in terms of how we're holding up the inside. And I see a group of guys that come to work every day committed for each other with a lot of fight, a lot of urgency, and I see a lot of improvement going forward and a lot of confidence. These guys can understand that we're building this thing in the right direction.
Jordan Rana, ESPN.
Joe, obviously these turnovers with Daniel keep happening. What do you say to him when you have those 2 turnovers? And is there something you need to do moving forward? Like, would you consider when he makes those plays taking him out?
Daniel's our quarterback. What we have to do is just make sure we keep improving everything around him and that we coach every player the same way. I told Daniel on both times the play happened. Tonight, I just told him be patient with it, stay committed to it. We're going to need you down the stretch. We need you to make plays. And obviously in that final drive, he made a lot of big plays for us. So you just got to keep moving on. Things happen in games. We're not going to go ahead and tolerate everyone on the team, having a one-off type of deal. And I can't have, one-offs as coaching staffs. We've all got to hold ourselves accountable and the man next to us accountable. But Daniel's our quarterback, clearly put.
And Bruce said afterwards, it seems like he's trying to do too much with those 2 interceptions. What do you think of that assessment?
Yeah, I'll look at the tape and we'll talk about that collectively as a team right now. But I like the way Daniel's fighting right now.
Thanks.
Marsh Horse, New York Post.
Hey, Joe, you mentioned about Daniel and the interceptions. He seems to have this problem with not getting the ball out of bounds. I mean, a lot of his interceptions are not coming in the middle of the field. How can you get it into his head to get the ball out of bounds? And also, does he need to make a better throw, even if there might have been a penalty on the 2-point conversion? It seems like if he puts it more to the outside, Dion has a completion that might be fairly easy.
Yeah, I think Dion had a chance to catch the ball right there. There was just contact before the ball had a chance to get there for him to actually finish and complete the catch. So it's tough to make that assessment on a throw right there. As far as getting the ball out of bounds, Paul, I mean, none of the things that happened tonight were a result of trying to throw the ball out of bounds and the ball just not reaching it. In fact, he had a nice throwaway in that, last drive right there to stop the clock and avoid a sack. So I don't see any issue specifically with that, Paul.
Okay. Zach Rosenblatt, NJ.com.
Hey, Joe. So you guys are 1-7 at the midway point. I imagine that's not what you wanted to happen, obviously. So I'm just curious, how would you characterize this first half of your first season, especially after you sit here after another tough, close loss where you guys were kind of leading late in the game?
Yeah, a lot of improvement. I see a lot of improvement. I'm proud of the way our guys are working day by day, sticking together. We've got a really good foundation and culture being built in this building right now. We got a lot of really good guys to build with for this thing for the long term. So if you would ask me the first half of this first year, how would I classify it? I see an improving team that's developing into the vision we see going forward.
Art Stapleton, the record.
Hey, Joe, at one point tonight, or actually several times tonight, you had 3 rookies on the offensive line. I'm just curious. I know you want to go back and watch the tape, but how would you assess their performance, especially Andrew Thomas, considering what he's been through the first 7 games?
Yeah, I would say that before I make any specifics, on any of these guys, I got to watch the tape and make sure I actually see all the details of the play. It's tough to see all 22 guys on every single play. When I did look up and see it, I saw some good improvement for all 3 of those guys tonight. Some of the good things is when you don't notice them being out there particularly. That means that things are going in the right direction. One thing I did notice with Shane is Shane's not afraid to mix it up. We know that from him. He's a tough dude. He got in there, really played with some nastiness. And we like that about him. We like the way it showed up on the tape tonight. So I'm going to look at the tape. Look, all 3 are going to have things they have to improve on, but all 3 have enough good football from tonight that we can build on and move forward with them.
As Giants head coach Joe Judge victory, he says, we're not asking for moral victories here, but it is kind of a nice thing that the Giants have been in these games that nobody's given them credit for. What are your reactions to how Judge responded?
No, I love that. I think the biggest thing that stuck out for me is being asked about how his team is faring halfway through the season now, and I think he sees a team that's fighting, and I think that's what we see.
Yeah.
I think each and every week we see a team that's improving in certain areas and just fighting and scratching and clawing to win games at the very end, and that's all you can ask for right now.
Absolutely, and he shouted out Shane Lemieux, who stepped up as Will Hernandez is dealing with coronavirus, wishing Will a good and healthy and speedy recovery. But yeah, Shane Lemieux scrapping, clawing as well. All right, well, we've got a lot more to come here on the show. Stay with us. Giants 1st and 10 is on Thursdays. We're on Giants postgame wrap-up. It's a Monday. This is presented by Mercedes-Benz, the official luxury automobile of the New York Giants. As we look ahead to Week 9, the Giants will be facing the Washington football team for the 2nd time this season, Sunday at 1 p.m. Daniel Jones is undefeated by the Washington football team against the Washington football team in his young career. So that's a pretty promising thing as we look forward to this next game, a division game nonetheless.
All the most important games, right, is the division game. Obviously, Daniel Jones undefeated against this football team. Obviously, a team that we feel good against, obviously winning earlier in the season. But obviously, offensively, Kyle Allen, Terry McLaurin, Logan Thomas, all these guys are going to be ready to play. And all these guys understand their roles now. Obviously, we're a little bit further along in the season. So this game probably, as all division games are in this league, will be tight, will be hard fought, and the Giants are going to have to bring their A game like they need to each and every week, obviously, to come away victorious in this one.
Yeah, Ron Rivera, Riverboat Ron, really showing he's trusting Kyle Allen, that familiarity working out for those two as they're coming off a bye. But prior to the bye, they demolished the Dallas Cowboys 25-3. Defensively also, Washington, they have the ability to apply pressure to the quarterback. So we want to make sure, I mean, especially as this Giants offensive line manages the shifting pieces going against this pass rush. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I think defensively for the Washington football team, that front four is just maniacal. You know, they're getting after that quarterback. They're going to wreak havoc. They're going to get into the backfield as much as they possibly can. So it's all about offensively, can the Giants withstand that rush and make sure Daniel Jones stays
and get
upright.
that win. And you know what? Luckily for them,
Exactly.
the NFC East is still within grabs. Thanks
Still
for
right
watching.
there.
Victor Cruz, I'm Madelyn Burke. Don't forget to vote November 3rd, tomorrow,
Yes.
Election Day. Use your voice. Thanks for watching.